hereby call this meeting of the Fan Ghouls Club to order. I'm Brielle.
And I'm Hayley. And welcome to Book Club. I'm trying to be strong.
We're wearing our morning black.
And you'll see why soon, but...
Because we read chapter 89.
So this week we are going to be discussing Kingdom of Trash. We're going to be discussing... Anyway, we're going to be discussing Kingdom of Ash, chapters 89 through 99 in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I feel like it's like blasphemy if you don't say the author's name. Give her credit, you know?
It's just a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. I'm trying to, be positive, my usual positive self. But it is hard because, me and my own personal bubble of fangirl fandom over certain characters has been absolutely shattered to pieces. But first, we could maybe go over our fangirl moments of the week and just push this off as far as possible.
Okay.
And I do have a question for you also.
Great.
Oh! Also, I have a gift for you. Do you want your gift first?
Do I also get a Twilight t-shirt?
Well, I don't know. Do you want to see what your gift is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it right there the whole time?
Yeah, I had it over here. First, well, I have a gift for the group first.
For the group? Ghouls just wanna have fun. That's adorable.
I don't know. We don't have any purple around here, but we can just... There's a lot happening. There we go. We'll just put it there for now. It's cute.
We'll have it when we need to knock on wood.
Ooh, good idea. Okay, and then here's your gift. It's a two-parter.
I love a Target bag.
Here's your gift. I was going to wrap it, but you know me and gift wrapping.
It's a cup.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Cup.
Look how cute.
And I have one too.
Oh my God. We should have put our McFlurries in here.
Ooh, we could. They're shakes now.
They're so cute.
Well, I was at Target.
It holds literally nothing.
No, it holds an entire... I have a whole seltzer in here.
A whole seltzer?
Yeah, I'm going to drink that one now, and then I'll have my iced one for later. But
wow.
it holds a whole can of seltzer.
Oh my God.
And, I was at Target because I was specifically looking for the Galinda Elphaba disco cups. But they didn't have those. But they did have some cute... They have a candy corn one of these, too, which is super cute. So I was like, okay, we're getting into our spooky season spirit, so we need these.
I love it.
And look how it rests on that.
It's perfect.
That's cute.
It kind of looks like a little octopus.
It does look like an octopus, like a pearlescent, ghoulish octopus.
The little octopus from Finding Nemo. She's like, when I twirl my tentacles like this.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
Aw, you guys made me ink.
Aww.
And then there's one more thing in there. I love that you knew. Yay!
I'm so excited. But there's no Jacob.
There's no Jacob on this shirt, I know.
Or Renesmee.
The Twilight merch manufacturers are clearly just Team Edward, Team Cullen.
But where's Nessie?
Where's little Nessie? You named my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster?
Oh, MG. Oh, Jasper.
But we don't have many with Alice and Emmett and Jasper. We don't have shirts with them on them.
I get because Jasper's terrifying. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another black t-shirt with a graphic on it about something I fangirl over.
I mean, how many fangirl t-shirts does it take? Oh, yeah. And
today I have Taylor Moon on. And it looks just like her.
It's really cute.
Because I also have a t-shirt of Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
And I saw the graphic real quick in the mirror today, and I just, off the top of my mind, figured I was wearing my Sailor Moon t-shirt. But I looked down and I was like, whoa, I never realized before that she looks just like Taylor. And then I realized it was my Taylor Moon t-shirt. So...
An honest mistake.
And I was going to say, just an honest mix.
Oh, my goodness. Did you fangirl over anything this week?
What didn't I fangirl over? Look, I don't know how many times I'm allowed to do it. I don't think there's rules.
No, the limit does not exist.
Thank you. But I will say it was more Wicked stuff this week.
Wicked.
They released another new Wicked trailer.
Yep.
So we got some harmonies this time in the trailer. So you actually hear parts of the harmonies that Cynthia and Ari sing together in the beginning of what will be Defying Gravity.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got, a little excited about that part. And then what everyone's talking about is that they are also introducing part of the Wicked Witch theme from Wizard of Oz into it. So I wonder if that's actually going to be in the soundtrack somewhere in the movie.
Yeah.
Or if it was just for the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it was it's so haunting. It was so good. But then also Ari officially released their Wicked collab online and in stores. So I'm about to run over this week, and I've put it off because I can't decide which ones I want.
I know. I mean, yeah, you can't fangirl over that too much. In fact, I feel like it's just going to keep going for us over the next couple of months.
The best part about it all, truly the greatest part, is that we're going to be able to talk about it nonstop for an extra year, because then again there's going to be a second round of promotions and trailers for part two.
Mm-hmm.
And red carpets and all these looks.
So by then surely we'll get to go to the red carpet.
We'll go to red carpet number 2.
Or maybe it'll be a yellow carpet.
That's so cute.
I bet it will be.
About that.
Yellow brick road.
Wait, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And and we found out that Universal Studios Hollywood, and I think in Florida, I think.
Orlando's doing some sort of setup photo op thing, I think,
but
that they're not doing here.
But they're doing themed stuff here too, right?
I think so. I think because Toothsome, the chocolate factory, is releasing.
We're gonna have to go back to Toothsome. Shakes.
I think it's a pink and green milkshake or something like that. So we're gonna have to go.
Maybe it'll be better.
It was very meh.
It's a restaurant at Universal.
Yeah.
City Walk.
And then I think in the parks they're going to have a couple of themed foods or something like that. And then also Shiz University merch, which is really cute.
So fun.
University merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So now I'm going to have to buy that. I'm exhausted already.
I know.
What about you?
I fangirled over Prince George this week. And the second I saw this post, I decided that was going to be what I was going to fangirl over, because it just struck me as iconic behavior. So young Prince George, the son of Princess Catherine and Prince William, he was quoted at school. He was I don't know, he wasn't being bullied, but have you seen this?
Yes.
So I don't know, mean kids at school were talking smack, and he goes, "You better watch out because my dad's going to be king someday," and he threatens them with his father's soon to be kingdom.
What a flex.
That's awesome. Yeah, what a flex.
You better watch out.
You better watch out. My dad's gonna be the king. And I thought that was awesome.
That's so funny.
I know. Well, I guess the one other thing is that I got to season 2 of Gilmore Girls. Oh. Which is just a very normal thing for us, really, but Jess is here, so Jess is there.
He's arrived. He's here.
He's arrived in Stars Hollow. Yeah, I have a question now.
Oh.
Yep, I have a question for you.
Oh. Who
was somebody that you really fangirled over as a kid? Celebrity or character, I guess, but maybe mainly So, for example, I got this idea for this question because I watched a red carpet interview with Kieran Shipka today.
Oh.
Did you see this too?
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Oh, okay. So you should have known I was going to ask you this question.
I'm so sorry. You're right.
And the interviewer asked her, who was your not fangirl crush, but who was your celebrity crush? And she said Cole Sprouse, who was who was definitely mine too. I don't know if he's the one that I would say, but...
Okay.
Whatever that means to you.
Yeah. If we're going that route, then Matthew Broderick.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Because I was so obsessed with Ferris Bueller. I would tell everyone to please shut up because I was watching my boyfriend.
Oh my God.
Because I was obsessed with when he sang at the parade. Like, I could watch that part. Like,
Yes.
oh
good.
my God. I
It's
could
so
watch that
fun.
part over and over again. And then because of that, I was also obsessed when he was in Inspector Gadget.
Oh, yeah.
And then growing up a little bit later when he was in Producers, just like, I just was obsessed with him. He was definitely one of my first, like, fangirly crushes ever.
I'll go off of yours then and say, similarly, Kevin Bacon was mine.
Ugh.
Because I think Footloose is one of my earliest memories of like really fangirling over a movie.
And like rewatching like something
and watching
like
it over and over
Yeah.
and over, and like I loved him. I knew the soundtrack by heart. And then I would watch anything that he was in, even if because he usually did like darker sort of, like he played a bad guy in a lot of movies, and I was just like, I just love
Kevin.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite the war to try and get you to watch the remake of Footloose with me.
I like don't believe that I actually did it, and I wish that I had.
The only reason I think you were finally convinced is because you only watched it after you then watched Miles Teller in Top Gun
Maverick.
Because forever I was like, but Miles Teller's in it, you gotta watch it. You're like, I don't really care. But then you saw Top Gun.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
He was
I'm
so
ready
good.
to watch Footloose.
And I was
I think-
disappointed. And I really feel like I cheated on Kevin Bacon a little bit, and it feels wrong. And every character. I mean, Sarah, your fan crush's wife was in the original Footloose.
Oh.
Come on. We're both a little weird in that, I think.
But it was about a young man singing and dancing his heart out.
Oh. Yes. That's cute. I feel like I'm happy. I'm happier now.
You're ready?
I think I'm ready.
Do you want...
Yeah, I'm going to take the odds if you want to take the evens.
Okay.
We're going to start off with chapter 89. We left off in chapter 88, and we were left on a huge, massive, really scary cliffhanger with Iskra, Yellowleg's bull, surprise attacked Manon and Abraxas. The bull had Abraxas by the throat, and that's kind of how we closed out that chapter. And so we open chapter 89, and Iskra's bull still has Abraxas by the throat, but Abraxas as of right now, is not wavering. He's still keeping Manon in the air. He's trying to fight his way through this. Manon loses her ish. Like, this is a Manon we have not seen yet at all. Like, she is completely frozen. She's like she can't think about what to do next. She's looking for the 13 to try and help, but Iskra's Yellowleg's clan, they've all got the 13 scattered, so no one can come to Manon's aid. She starts begging Iskra of all witches, and Iskra only laughs. Manon decides, okay, maybe I can jump off Abraxas, get to Iskra, kill her maybe, and then get this bull off of Abraxas. And just when Manon is about to jump off of Abraxas to go flying into the air towards Iskra, another wyvern appears and just rams right into Iskra's bull. And it's Petra and her new wyvern, who we haven't met yet. It's Petra Blueblood, and she has... Yeah, Blueblood. And she has come clearly with a vengeance. For a better world, and for Keeley. Petra and Iskra are now in the air fighting, and Manon has Abraxas out of the bull's grasp. And we get this amazing imagery of Iskra and Petra fighting essentially to the death. Like, they're twirling around each other up into the sky, and they're diving down. And ultimately, Petra leads Iskra and her bull all the way down to the ground, and Petra banks Petra. You think Petra is going to go down with Iskra, and she banks right at the right moment. Iskra and her bull goes splattering to the ground, and Petra and her wyvern escape, and they're flying back out into the battle. Abraxas is heading towards the walls, which happens to be where Morath soldiers are trying to infiltrate and go through those secret tunnels into the city walls. And so the 13 making all these rocks fall into the opening so that Morath soldiers can't get in anymore. And they finally get Abraxas to safety within the walls, and there's this great moment where all the 13 and Manon have their hands over Abraxas's throat, just trying to stop the bleeding, and a healer ultimately does come. We have a short little moment with Lysandra, who sees Adian being carried to safety because Adian had just been stabbed by the Valg Prince. Adian and Lysandra end up where Manon, the 13, and Abraxas are. And Lysandra tells everyone that the Witch Tower is back up and it's heading toward the city walls. We also do learn that Abraxas will live, thank God. It's going to blast all of Orinth to smithereens, essentially, if they get any closer. The Witch Tower, they do send a blast like straight up into the air, and all the witches that are fighting in the skies just are obliterated. Like, they just completely disappear. And so everyone's imagining, well, if they aim that towards us, we're all goners, obviously. And so Manon is like, get me another wyvern.
She starts freaking
out. Clearly the 13, they all turn to each other, and they just, like, in understanding, quietly walk away from Manon, and they all get onto their wyverns, and they're, like, ready to take flight. And they're kind of, like, touching Manon's shoulder, and Manon realizes that her 13 are actually going to be the sacrifice, and they're going to fly out to the Witch Tower and destroy it without her. And Astrid, her second, gets to her before they take off, and she tells Manon to live. She tells her to bring their people home. And before Manon can try and stop them, they're already in the skies flying towards the Witch Tower. The rest of this chapter is essentially like a description of all of the 13 facing the Iron Teeth, like, wall, basically, that's in front of the tower. Each member of the 13 is paving the way for the next, and they are all going down as that's happening. And Manon is watching. Finally, Astrid gets to the tower. She has this incredible moment where she takes off her, like, shirt, and we know that unclean was carved into her stomach by the matron of the Blackbeak clan.
Evil grandma.
This is who she's facing at the Witch Tower. And so Astrid gets this incredible moment where she finally
does get the death, yeah.
She finally gets the kill. She becomes the Yieldling, along with all of the 13 who have perished around the tower, and they're able to destroy the tower. But in doing so, Manon's 13 die, unfortunately. All of their wyverns also, including Nerine, who is Abraxas's mate, which is, rude. I mean, it's also devastating.
That's why I was more upset.
I know. And
I was like, no, Abraxas. When, the very beginning, when Manon is freaking out because she thinks Abraxas might die, one of the lines just said, like, the darkness had, like, chosen them to be together. Yep. And, like, it was just like she just, I don't know, like, all her thoughts in that moment were just so, again, she does a good job of, like, if someone's, like, really panicked or something's happening or someone's frazzled, the lines are broken up. The way you're reading it makes you read it very broken, but, like, fast paced, and, like, you're almost frazzled reading it.
So anxious, yeah.
So that part was just really sad to read because she was just saying things like the darkness chose them to be together.
He was hers and she was his.
Yeah. And then I liked that, he started diving to the ground.
To get her closer.
Not to just because he was falling, but he wanted to get her as close to the ground as possible in case he did die, like, she wouldn't fall and squash.
Yep. But for her to say I love you to Abraxas, and that was the first time she's ever said those words, is like, that had made me break down so hard.
Her screaming please, and then she said her warrior-hearted mount, who had saved her far more than she had ever saved him, who had saved her in the ways that counted the most.
It really turned, I mean, yeah, she just becomes a completely different person here.
She's never had to face losing something that she loved. I wrote, damn it, I liked Astrid.
No. For Keely was tough, and then Iskra died, and I wrote, bye, Bit.
Not Aiden and Lysandra holding each other because they were ready for death.
I know. Page 747, when, like, she's frantically being like, I need another wyvern to go stop the Witch Tower, and Astrid just stared at her.
She turns around and points to Lysandra, though, and she goes, you can take me. And Aiden was like, no!
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't cry again.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Chapter 90. Manon passed out and fell asleep in fetal position. So she woke up and Abraxas's wing was around her. The Morath army ended up falling way back. They definitely have not fully retreated, but they're just kind of there. So TBD on what's going on with that. Manon then wakes up Abraxas, and he's too weak still to fly, so they walk out of the keep and then walk out onto the battlefield and walk all the way over to where the 13 had fallen, and she falls to her knees. She doesn't notice that literally everyone follows her out there. They all came to honor the 13, and everyone laid flowers down. And Glennis stayed till the very end, and she said a very sweet sentiment. And then, far away across the snow-covered mountains on a barren plain before the ruins of a once great city, a flower began to bloom.
Which is the flower that they were talking about, that Darrow and Lysandra were talking about, right?
That's what I feel like.
Because the symbol of peace.
But are they at peace yet? Because Erewhon, like, they're still the army and, like, the war's not over. So that's what I figured. But I'm curious. Maybe that's, like, the first step. So it's starting to bloom.
It's a bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Basically, she's just real sad.
Just wild, though. Like, you just can't help but think of all of the whole of the witches back in Era of Fire, like when they were introduced. When they were going to be, we didn't know then it was Erewhon, but Erewhon's like soldiers, basically. They were excited to be his army, and she was excited to lead his army, his aerial army, and they were training to just demolish all of these beings that are now standing behind her, like honoring the witches. Yeah. It's just wild how this has turned around.
You know.
As we head into chapters 91 through 99, which is just one big chunk of strangeness, confusion, devastation, kind of exciting, who knows. So chapter 91, so we first get Dorian's POV, because last time we saw him, it was from Aylin's point of view a few chapters ago, and so Dorian is in front of Aylin and the crew, and now he's looking at them, and he sees this foreign army, the Cognite army, and more behind Aylin. And he sees the Rux for the first time, which is so cool. He sees Aylin galloping towards him. She asks where Manon is. Then the world goes quiet because he sees Kale, and Kale dismounts his horse and races towards Dorian, and that's when Dorian starts to cry because he realizes not only is he seeing his friend again, his friend has also, to his knowledge, formed this whole army and brought them here, and most of all, Kale is walking again. And so they are sort of all catching up together, and Dorian meets Irene for the first time, and Dorian announces that he has all 3 word keys. They also catch up to speed on the fact that Maeve was in Morath with Erewhon, that he demolished Morath on his way out, and that he's pretty sure Erewhon and Maeve survived, and now they're just super mad. We've got a great moment where Lorcan is like super impressed with Dorian, which is fun.
Well done.
Yeah. Aylin basically declares, okay, well, we have 2 choices. We can either seal the gate now, or we can go to Terrazin, see what we can do there, and then do the whole gate thing. And she ultimately decides, let's all just vote. The people of Aurelia can vote. That makes it the most fair. And much to Rowan's disagreement. And ultimately everyone decide, well, the vote goes in favor of sealing the gate now. And so that's what they're going to do.
I thought it was interesting, though, that Aylin, like, instantly wasn't that excited to see him, though, because she already realized that he had all 3 keys, so she was kind of like,
well,
yeah, it like kind of ruined that like reunion we thought we were gonna get, because they didn't get a reunion, you know, because of that. It doesn't matter anyway.
And I think he's kind of in the same boat. I think he and Kale are a different story, but I think I was wondering why there's a moment when Dorian is meeting Irene, when Kale noticed a flicker of sorrow from Dorian when he's being introduced to Irene. And he still, like, looks like he has that sorrow in his eye, even though he's smiling and, like, hugging her.
Both are convinced at this point that they're going to be the one to do the sacrifice. So they're like, I don't really have that much to actually be happy about because I'm not about to be around for much longer.
Yeah, so it is kind of the same.
Yeah, it was all very bittersweet.
Yeah.
I know, I screamed out loud at that part when he said, well, I've always wanted a sister.
I've always wanted a sister. And she's like, you're going to be an uncle too. It's such a nice moment.
I feel like this one part simply just because Sartak said something. It's literally of no importance, but I just said, hi, Sartak.
Sartak! I know, we miss him. Irene is nervous because she's wondering if all the gods go away, will Silba go away, and will her powers go away? They decide that the gate should be closed before they head to Terrazin.
In the morning. Rowan is...
And Rowan is, like, absolutely fuming. Dorian and Kale and Aelin are now back at the Endovier salt mines where they all first met
together.
So that's weird.
It was only just over a year ago.
Yeah. What?
You're telling me all these books take place within a year?
I wish that wasn't true. I wish it really does feel like it could have been like 10 years.
Oh, I did flag though. It was Rowan's so pissed. He turns to Irene at one point and it just goes, oh yeah. Well, she points right at her and goes, well, she could destroy him. And even Irene's like, I could try. Yeah, why not? And Aelin's like, what? Shut up. Like, what are you talking about? She's pregnant. I'm not like doing this. But I was like, Rowan, what the fuck? He like turns right at her and points and is like,
this is like him, like, it's like the Manon desperation is like coming out of Rowan and he's like desperate to save her. Yeah.
She had him go to vote last and he just says, I vote no, not now and not ever. So chapter 92, they're back in their tents and Rowan is sad that this may literally be their last night together ever. So he makes the soldiers put up their royal tent this time. Even though they haven't done it like this whole time. So they're basically just having an argument. She also like just says to herself or in her head or whatever that like she didn't want to admit to everyone that she wasn't trying to do the vote just to be like nice and democratic. Yeah. To like have everyone feel like it was fair. But she also did it just take the decision off of her. She like didn't want to admit that it was kind of cowardly, but she just didn't want to make any more decisions and she like couldn't make up her mind. So she wanted everyone else to do it for them. So yes, they're camping at Endovier. And I did flag, I said, thank you, Aelin, for answering my question I had last week. Because remember, I could not, for the life of me, we couldn't figure out the situation with Elena and like where she would go once the gate was closed and the lock and all of that and like what exactly her situation was. So she basically answered it for us of that she will go with the gods to this other realm and just kind of like dissipate to exist no more. She won't be in the afterworld with all of her like family and loved ones because that was the deal. So I just could not remember that. Yeah. So basically she explains that. She reminds us that she is still not even 20 years old.
Yep. She's like, she let me get to 20. She got me 20 years.
Well, not even.
Almost 20.
It's almost my birthday.
All right.
And then Rowan is just arguing and pleading literally on his knees, trying to figure out what to do. How to persuade her to not do this, just let Dorian do it, blah, 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 blah. She's like, I'm not going to let anyone else sacrifice themselves. I can't do it. I'm not giving up my friend. I'm not giving up anyone else. Elena gave me 20 years, but now my time has come. But then Rowan comes up with the idea of just like when you guys joined forces and destroyed the glass castle, what if you both do this together now? With your powers together, maybe you both could survive rather than just one of you doing it alone. And she was kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? But also like, it's kind of a good idea.
Yeah, maybe it'll work.
So they go to Dorian. She goes, look, I gotta ask you a favor. And he goes, yeah. And then she goes, do you want Kale there with you? And he goes, yeah.
It's like...
So they both have their soulmate at the end of the road.
It's too much to bear.
Do you want Kale with you?
I'm really never going to get over that the fact that Sarah J Maas literally wrote, and the world stopped. And then the world stopped.
Yeah.
When they saw each other again. And then here, it's like...
She's like, do you want him with you?
Oh my god.
It's so funny.
Oh, he thought about saying no, thought about sparing his friend from another goodbye when there had been such joy on Kale's face.
I know.
They love each other more than anyone else in the series, I think.
Oh my god. 1,000%.
Oh my god, it's so sweet.
Because in the next chapter, we'll talk about the one in the next chapter of like their sweet nothings to each other as they're saying goodbye, and Rowan's like, do I get one? And she's like,
I know.
Yeah, basically,
She's
they're
so
just
silly.
obsessed with each other, and it's very sweet. But that's pretty much it.
Rowan pacing, and his voice breaks. He's gonna cry. It's like we may have seen Rowan like this a couple of times, like slightly, but never like this.
I would love. I mean, we again talk about this every single time, every episode. But I would just love to actually see this in a show of like this character, like. Rowan's supposed to be this huge warrior soldier.
Yeah.
507. How old is he? 700 years.
So old.
Just so tough. When we first meet him, he like doesn't seem like he even has a soul at all.
Yeah.
But like he's just such a simp now.
He's such a simp, man. Like
of just like, and then like
obsessed.
seeing him just like again, it's the same of Manon dealing with almost losing Abraxas. Just like he's just pacing. He's thinking of any option ever. So then he comes up with this of like maybe this is the last thing he can do to try and save her.
Territorial much?
Yeah.
No, it's sweet. I love them.
I know.
He's just this is just what he's always just one of those things. He's always wanted this, and clearly he's always wanted her as a mate, but he's been fed a fake reality for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the moment where Aelin is thinking about how she kind of wished she could just get a few miles farther and do it in Terrazin rather than here in Endovier. Like,
yeah, I know. It came full circle.
And she's not even sure, like, have I ever even been, I haven't even ever been free, really. Like, I've always been.
She was always bound to do this anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, this whole idea of, like, fate, and her fate specifically, just never being happy, It's so sad.
What a
God,
great
I hope
story.
My girl I hope she gets what she deserves at the end. Crazy.
Yeah, earlier in the book when she was like, she didn't even try to survive her torture with Maeve, to survive it, to get back to the one she loved. She just wanted to survive it just so she knew she still needed to sacrifice herself anyway. Like, it just, when she said that, it was so sad.
I know. And so then, now we're in chapter 93, where it's all going to start going down. So we've got our two couples. We've got Aelin and Rowan, and Kale and Dorian. They walk into the mines. Like, the gates were left open because this place is abandoned now. So the gates are open, and they're all, like, walking through, and it's, like, a total mind mess, like just them all remembering this time, and obviously Aelin especially remembering her time in captivity.
Them all just saying, I didn't think we'd ever be back here.
And this is when I noted, like, Kale, Dorian, and Aelin being back in the place where they met in such different circumstances, and so Aelin is like seeing the pits where she was thrown in, and like all these different areas that she remembers. She left her sword in her tent. I don't know why that's maybe pertinent to know for later. I'm not sure. But Dorian does have Damaris. Anyway. Yeah. They get to the place where they're going to do this ritual, basically. And
So witchy.
Like, it's very witchy. Yeah. Kale's like, what do you need us to do? And Aylin's just like, just be here. That's enough. And Dorian and Kale hug. They embrace. And they speak too quietly for Aylin to hear.
They're like whispering to each other.
This is another like what Lorcan did. It's like all up for interpretation, you know. Whatever.
I've always loved you.
Yeah, I've always loved you. And then I wonder if we'll, hear what they say later. And then, yeah, Rowan is like, so what about my farewell or whatever? And she's like, it's a little dramatic even for me. For the first time ever, she doesn't like, they're equally obsessed with each other, obviously. I would have thought, this is literally the life or death moment. And she's joking around with him and terrible.
Terrible.
But in any case, they do embrace and he says, I love you, come back to me.
Come back to me.
And so Aylin draws the word marks into the ground, in the dirt, and just big enough so that she and Dorian can stand in them. Dorian steps into the circle or whatever and tells Rowan to seal it when it's all done. And Dorian draws out the 3-word keys. Dorian,
a lot of word
I'm
something.
Like, whoa. Dorian pulls out the word keys and he just tells Aylin, I thought you might want to be the one to do this part. And she agrees.
She was like, yeah, I'd love to slice open my arm.
Yeah, thanks, Dorian.
He's like, I don't want to.
Yep. Aylin knows that in order to open the gate, she has to become the gate. And so she knows that Erewhon started this process with Kaltain Rompier by putting the literal key inside of her. And so with that, Aylin cuts open her arm, puts all 3 keys inside her arm, and not without thinking to herself, my name is Aylin Ashriver Galathinius, and I will not be afraid. And she repeats it. She seals the word keys into her arm. And
seal them into her arm.
Well, I think she just like...
Because she can like heal fast?
Well, in this moment, she really just like puts them inside. Like she doesn't do anything other than just like stuff them in there. Which, yeah, ew. And then Rowan seals the gate, seals the word marks.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, Dorian and Aylin just kind of go still. And they sort of... but their hands are still... They're still holding hands, but they're blank, unseeing, they're frozen. Aylin kind of goes limp, like her other arm goes limp. Her open wound is there, and you can see all the rocks shoved inside.
It's so weird.
And we know that something is happening when Rowan realizes that the mating bond is starting to become really strained. And that's how the chapter ends. When we start to go through the word gate process here. It's the beginning of the end.
mating bonds.
I know.
Yeah, basically that chapter is just Dorian and Kale holding each other, sobbing and whispering things to each other, and Aylin's like,
peace. She does say, like, I'm with you always.
yeah. Why'd they have to go into the mines to do that?
Well, I think they say it under the cover of darkness.
Oh, in case someone does come around.
I think so, yeah.
Just to be a little hidden.
Yeah. I know, and you can't hit us with the I will not be afraid.
You can't keep saying that phrase at me.
It's so sad.
I know.
We'll just keep going through this, I guess.
Yeah, they are, so they're in this other dimension, world, mental state.
Many worlds, yes.
They're like in this weird plane of existence that's between, I don't know. So
yeah.
their bodies are still there with Kale and Rowan, but mentally they are somewhere else. And they start to form the lock as their power starts ripping from them. And it's very painful. It's basically what we get from this chapter, and that's about it. So Aylin is trying to, remember who she is. She's trying to constantly remind herself, my name is blah, 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 blah. I will not be afraid. You know, she just keeps saying, I'm Aylin, things like that. It mentions that they could have made the lock any shape that they wanted. That didn't matter. But they ended up forming it into the Eye of Elena, because that's basically, I guess, where this all started in terms of this actual road of where they are now. And then Aylin starts screaming And this is when Dorian basically realizes that they're not going to make it. So Dorian tries to kind of like turn his head over to Aelin, and he's like, we gotta stop. He keeps trying to say it. He can't say it. He's doing his best. And then he hears someone else say it. He just hears a random man's voice go, stop. And it's his father.
This was like the biggest shock.
I didn't see that one coming, I guess.
I did not see the former King of Adarlan showing up in this what is they call it, a chamber of many doors with different worlds beyond each.
So it's like the castle in Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Yes, exactly. I like imagining it like
where
that.
Where all the other realms are, with all the doors to the Lion King realm.
That's a good one, and it makes sense if it's like maybe it's modeled after the Glass Castle, and the King of Adarlan is there.
He's just hanging out.
That was great. I was like, blink, blink, what?
Daddy?
When you reread that 3 different times.
His father?
That was shocking. Oof, yeah, this description of the lock forming, and it's like, they just both are saying it's pure agony, like just agony.
Great.
And in fact, Aelin mentions that it reminds her of Maeve and Karen's torture.
That's really fun.
And again, you just get this sense of like, oh my God, she has to go through this like
again.
Again.
Yeah, you're like, why?
The forming of the lock started to hurt. And like, I've never seen Aelin like scream like this before, and like Dorian watching this happen to her, and then he starts feeling it's like
him worried that like they're not gonna make it, so he just wants to stop it.
And she's feeling her power being like ripped away. Oh my God, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
There's just this quick moment while they're like stop, or trying to say stop, where Dorian's like, will I have the chance to help Elena like I promised Gavin that I would?
Oh, right. Dude, they're so like twinsies.
I know.
How cute. They're right on the same page every time.
The fire and ice effect. I love them.
Except he's
everything.
It's fire and everything.
He is the Avatar. And then, okay, well, we'll just keep going, I guess. So we now have the former King of Adarlan standing before us.
This one was wild.
This was crazy, and oh my God, so many emotions. It seems, is this 94, 95? 95. Immediately, we're met with a different version of him, where he's like, he's got kindness and sorrow and humanity all on his face, and Dorian's kind of very thrown aback by this, because I always forget Dorian only ever knew his father as what we knew him to be, this sort of like kind of evil dictator character.
He like didn't recognize him,
and who Dorian wanted dead in the end.
He
either way,
killed him.
Yeah, and he killed him. Yeah, he killed him.
He did.
I didn't forget that tidbit.
He did murder his father.
Yep, meow, meow. The king is like, he says, stop again. Aelin's like, it can't be stopped. And Dorian's just like, you can't be here. Like, what the heck? What are you doing here? His dad is just trying to be all nice. And like, he's like, my boy, let me take your place and let me finish this here for you. And Aelin's like, well, you weren't chosen. Anyway, and he'll explain.
Hysterical of her. This whole time they're trying to find any way
to not be in this situation.
And he offers to help, and she goes, you're not the chosen one. And we're like, what are you?
Girl, she's so odd in that way. And he just says, nameless is my price. And he says it again. For the bastard-born mark you bear to Aelin, you are nameless, yet am I not so as well. What's my name?
I like the bear.
Dorian, his own son, it's like, that's crazy. You're
Which we've talked about this before. We were always
we've definitely talked about this.
As I was reading it, I was like, we've talked about it. We were like, does he not have a name?
Me too. In the very beginning, when we were reading it, we're like, and we were always like, he's just like, we used to say, he's like, he's just king.
He's just the king. Yeah.
Obviously, that connection never would have been made, because he was, at this point, he was killed a long time ago, like a long time ago.
Oh, yes.
So it's like, you haven't even thought about him.
Yeah.
We thought his story was completely done.
Yeah.
Which, like, of course it wasn't, because we only got to see this side of him for a split second before Dorian killed him.
And Dorian didn't trust it.
Mm-hmm. I know. And so, of course, that essentially new character was going to come back in some way. Dang, your name is... How is that you don't have one?
Huh.
Oh, but it's sad, because then he says that Erewhon took it away from him. Like, an ancient terrible spell that he took his name away so that no one would ever know it and that I would never remember it.
Dorian,
he couldn't stop his
daddy problems.
Bad daddy issues. And, you know, Aylin's kind of like, well, you don't have as much magic as Dorian does. Which is like, girl.
She's exhausting.
And he's like, I'm grateful I got to see you again, Dorian. One last time. And then Aylin tells Dorian, well, one of us has to rule. And she like, or just lets go of his hand, I guess.
Does she push him?
Before Aylin ripped her hand from his and shoved him through the gateway.
She shoved him.
And Dorian fell back into his body, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Dorian sees her grab his father's hand.
Yep. Blink, blink. I'm just thinking back to, like, the trials in the first book. And, like,
reading Throne of Glass feels like a century ago.
I know.
I hate when a series is so long that by the time you get to the last book, you're like, wait, I feel like I have to reread the whole thing again because I already forget what happened in the first one.
I know. And, like, I'm dying to reread ACOTAR for that read. I mean, that was a way quicker read, obviously. I mean, but so much does happen. And it's like, this one especially, you want to go back and, like, make the connections.
Yeah. Pick up on maybe if there's some things we just completely missed.
Any glimmer of, like, who he really is behind.
Yeah. I remember when I thought the big mystery was, like, that scene of Cain in Throne of Glass running up to Selena in the hallway, like all frantic and worried. Yeah. I was like, the first droplet of, like, something was weird.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember reading that being like, what? Like, this is so odd. And then
crazy. Wait. This is a sidetrack thing, but the creature down in the tunnels, was that I
wonder. I think he just
conjured
took it from, like, a hell realm.
Crazy.
It was just, like, some creepy creature.
The Cain stuff, I still remember Cain as just, like, a dick. Like, an evil kind of dick.
Basically.
But, like, in fact, he was infested.
Was he...
What?
Did he have a ring on?
I think so.
So he was, like, infested.
Possessed.
He was, like, was he a Val prince?
I don't know if he was a prince. Well, yeah, I guess because he would have had a collar. If not, okay, maybe we shouldn't. Okay, this might be another conversation. So sorry. Go back real quick and reread a little bit.
Reverse. Daddy.
Today. And then poor Rowan.
Oh God, I know.
Rowan! This is tough.
Chapter 96. Rowan hasn't moved for hours. He's also wild that this has been taking hours.
Yeah, I guess the world between worlds, it's different.
So Dorian wakes up.
Yeah, you can just
comes back into his body.
Timmy would do such a good job with this. That's
when Rowan knew in that moment. He instantly could tell, like, that was it.
Another freaking trick.
Such a messed up line of, like, that was her final lie. Her final deceit.
And he's just like, well.
And it's just like.
She done it again.
She just lies to him all of the time.
I know.
So Dorian starts sobbing, screaming, no, no. He chucked Damaris away because he's just kind of, like, flustered and upset. Oh, that's what we didn't talk about. That's why his dad showed up.
I had to write that down because it was a little bit like, oh, whoa, whoa. Yeah. His dad shows up because he had Damaris on him, and the sword is like, knows that this is the one truth that Dorian still has to face.
So it conjured up his father. Dad. Yeah.
That's important.
There you go. Okay, now
Great.
fast forward.
Splice that in.
So he chucked the sword away because he's just like flustered and
Dad.
he's just I didn't want to see my dad. So Kale is holding Dorian as he sobs.
It's not funny. It's sad.
And then Kale looks over to Rowan and says, "I'm sorry.
I got mine.
I got mine, but yours is dead."
No, it's so sad.
And then the line is just like, and now he has to watch her die.
His fire heart had lied. And now he's going to watch her die. It's awful.
And then we learn, jumping over back to Aelin in this Dreamlight Valley castle between portals.
I love that vision. I love the visual. It's perfect.
Aelin never intended to let Dorian actually finish this with her. Her plan was always to have her help him as far as he could, and then she was always going to let go of his hand and shove him back through the portal.
Damn it.
It was just a nice, convenient thing that his dad showed up and offered to help.
Yeah.
She was like, sweet.
It got Rowan off of her back, essentially.
But the king had a message for Aelin from her parents.
So cool.
And it was just very sweet. And she was probably like, I can't, not right now. Like, I can't do this. Oh, no. I was given a message for you. His edges blurred as the last of his power drained away. But he still smiled. And he looked at peace. Your parents they are so very proud of you. And they asked me to tell you that they love you so very much. He's starting to fade away, as he said, and that the debt has been paid enough, Fireheart. And then he was gone. Vanished.
Yeah. I immediately wondered what that...
The debt has been paid.
Enough.
And
like talk about a glimmer of hope. I'm like,
yeah.
Send her back.
Go, kick her. So then he vanishes. And then she does my name is, quote, one more time. She tries to finish it, but she can't because then all her magic was gone and she vanishes too.
Because the lock was officially forged. A choking scream tore out of her as the lock sealed, and her magic went away. Again, always a possibility that you just don't consider is like, I never imagined what this ritual, this like whole thing was going to be like.
Yeah, they've talked about it for how many books
forever now? And yeah, I just don't. I had no idea how this was going to go.
We've been waiting for like what? When did we learn that she was going to be a sacrifice for the gods?
Jeez, I don't even know.
Was that when she was still at the castle? Like, when did we learn all this? What did she learn when she went to the basements and talked to Elena and Gavin? And, like, was that all the way back at the castle?
I have no idea. I'm not even going to pretend to remember.
Great.
I think we knew by...
How long have we known that she was always going to sacrifice herself?
I don't know. I think we knew by Queen of Shadows at least. Jeez. I mean, it was probably it, or
because we knew because of Nehemia. We knew forever ago.
Oh yeah. Because
remember that one really short chapter of her meeting with Elena? Actually, we didn't know it was Nehemia. It just said the princess.
Yeah.
Talking to Elena, saying like it said it's gonna have to be one of them. And Elena goes, well, the boy's not ready, so it's going to have to be her.
Yeah.
So we've known about this since Crown of Midnight.
Yeah, but, I mean...
Yeah, right?
It was kind of, I wouldn't have...
But we didn't know the extent of what that meant, but we knew it was going to be Dorian or Aelin doing something. Anyway.
Because Crown of Midnight, we hardly knew about word marks and word keys and all of that.
Oh, barely. God. Speaking of...
Oh yeah, this chapter was incredible. This is the one where we need to flesh it out the most because like all the 12 gods and everything. It kind of goes over my head a little bit. I did have to read it a few times.
Yeah.
And even now I'm still like, there's more to kind of like understand.
Yeah.
So Aelin is still alive in some capacity, but she is realizing her power is gone. Nothing but one single droplet of water, which we know is her mother's power, but her fire is gone, as far as I'm aware. That's what this is saying. She clung to this droplet of water. All the 12 gods kind of appear like behind her.
Hey.
Ugh.
I just wrote, wow, they're really dicks.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's crazy. So they're like, okay, so it's done. Like, send us to our world now, girl. And this is what she's going to have. This is going to be her final sacrifice. In order to send all these gods back to their realm, she has to be the sacrifice. And they're like, now, do it now. We're not going to wait anymore. And she's looking amongst them, and she sees Elena, who looks scared, like she's kind of like a captive amongst them. And she's also looking at Deanna, and she sees Mala, who's not looking at her. And Mala is not looking at Elena either, who's her own daughter. And it's all kind of like sus to Aelin. She's kind of looking around like, something's weird about this. And Aelin being Aelin, she's like, I'm going to make a bargain. I'd like to make a bargain with you, actually.
Okay, Feyre.
Yeah, it's very Feyre of her. And Deanna's like, oh, you dare ask for a bargain. But they're like, okay, we'll hear it.
Deanna?
And here's where I am a little confused. Because she's saying she wants to do a trade before you fulfill your end. And I guess the agreement is that they will take Erewhon with them to this other world, this final world, and destroy him. But I want something in return. You're gonna take Erewhon away? No. Instead of that, you can keep him here, but I also want Elena to be able to stay in the afterworld with her loved ones.
She wanted to trade Erewhon's soul bargain for Elena's.
Yes.
Because she believes in her friends that if they leave Erewhon, they can still destroy him.
Yeah. And she brings up the vote again, and she says that the vote is also what gave her confidence. That they could do this without her.
Yeah, because they're like, well, she's gonna die anyway. So yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That was part of what the vote, yes.
And so it's yeah. And so, but she's ultimately what she wants to do is save Elena's soul. And Elena's like, oh no, don't do it.
So what her parents just said?
Yes, because they said the sacrifice has been made enough. Right?
The debt has
been paid enough. Anyway, I think I understand for the most part. It's just like, I don't know who's trading what, who's going where, who's staying where, who's dying.
This is the part when I was like, oh yeah, I'm reading like a heavy fantasy book.
Yeah, right. Because this whole time we've not been great about keeping track with the summonings and the those scenes. I'm always kind of like,
it's a god.
Yeah. Anyway. So Elena's sort of like, oh, Aelin, don't do that. Mala's kind of acknowledging that this is something that Aelin's going to do for her. And then Aelin is confident in this. She's like, I can be sacrificed, but I just want to do this one final thing for a friend. And freaking Deanna, for whatever reason, goes up to Elena, places both of her hands on her face, and causes her to erupt in this flash of light, and she erupts and disappears. And it's just gone. Elena, who is the one character since the very beginning of the series that has drawn us into this, the whole other aspect of these books. She's the start of this real journey, and she's just gone.
I think this is what their plan was all along, is that they were going to completely destroy Elena when this moment happened.
Yeah.
But at the time reading it, I was like, this seems so out of left field. Why did she just murder her?
That's how it felt. I thought she was they were at least going to bring her along with them
into the
whatever.
No, she just
and she's like, no, we don't make bargains with mortals.
Of course not.
Not any longer. You can keep Erewhon if that's what you wish. So it's a lose-lose at this point.
She really just said, fuck you.
Terrible. Crazy scene. Yeah, we've never gotten a scene with all these gods before.
Yeah, I like that the main reason was also that Aelin just said she would not allow anyone else but herself to be sacrificed. So she even wanted to save Elena.
Yeah, I know.
Chapter 98.
Yay!
Okay, well, Rowan could feel the bond breaking.
Great.
The gods killed Elena. And now they wouldn't take Erewhon either, so WTF. But they all walked through the portal, and Mala kind of lingered.
Mm-hmm.
And she stopped and turned back to Aelin and said, "Do it." And I thought this was one of the parts when I was like, am I missing? I was so confused. And she gave her a little kernel of power.
Fallen
and
stars.
Yeah. A little star in her hand. And Mala showed her the tattoo that Rowan did on her back. He was telling her at the time, I made a couple like revisions to it. It's gonna take a little bit longer. Just sit still, blah 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 blah. And she was like rolling her eyes about it. And this is why he paid such close attention in all the lessons that Aelin was teaching them all in the word marks. And like why he felt like it was so important is because in all the tattoos that he put on her back, in the wings and all the words were hidden word marks. Where Mala like brought it up in some fancy like Tony Stark looking like map.
It was a poem.
Yeah. So basically it was a map home in word marks to kind of help her find her way back home, back to him.
Mm-hmm.
For this exact moment.
Jeez.
In the little itty bitty case that this was a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
That she would be able to fly through worlds and portals to find him again. This would help her find him.
Like, sure.
He just casually thought of that.
Yeah.
But I loved that.
It was amazing. Like, yet again, just another perfect callback and like deeper meaning behind everything.
Then she thought of another voice whispered then to her, a fragment of a memory spoken on a rooftop and rift told.
Mm-hmm.
It said, what if we go on only to more pain and despair? Then it is not the end. This little kernel of power. And so this is where I was confused because I was like, did Mala just offer to like have herself and all the other gods just killed? She was just like, you know what, whatever, go for it.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so Mala just says,
she's ready.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And she lets Aelin tiptoe through the portal real quick into this god's realm. She opens a portal to a hell realm. So all these demons and creatures and weird things start coming out. And then she says you can just like hear the gods and screaming. And then she steps back through the portal, says peace, closes it, and then jumps back through her portal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it.
And also, like, why?
She killed him.
To kill them?
She
like
said
demons are going to kill them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
And left them to it. The sounds of their outraged, frightened screams ringing out. I see.
Yeah. So then she just goes, because for a better world, a world without gods, a world where our fates aren't chosen for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
But that's why I'm like, Mala was just like, you know what? Well, I'm ready. Let's just end it all.
It could be. I mean, she could be the one god that doesn't want to play with others' fate. You know what I mean? Like, she's one of the good ones, and she understands, like, her time is her time.
Yeah.
And Aelin and this world needs to have the opportunity to continue.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So she would live, and they would all go to hell.
Yeah. Yay!
Another sacrifice, though, for Mala.
I know. But I mean, she lived
we don't know. Yeah.
She's a god.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe she can find a way.
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking about her, though, honestly.
I guess so, yeah.
Because Aelin's gonna go home.
But she's got to go flying first.
Yay, fun.
And once upon a time in a land long since, but she's like reminding herself again who she is,
it's
who
like
her home is.
She's Dorothying her way. No. What am I thinking? Dorothy / like Peter Pan, like think happy thoughts and like
wherever you go, no matter. Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
She would find a way too. She was no longer the queen who was promised, but the queen who would walk between worlds.
So cool.
She was not afraid.
Hell yeah. I love when she said before Mala helps her, she decides first that she's going to do something about this. She was no lamb to slaughter, no sacrifice on an altar of the greater good. And she was not done yet. And then we get to like the most exciting chapter and like the craziest moment in chapter 99.
I've known about this.
Oh, really? This was spoiled for you?
One of them.
Oh, really? That sucks.
I know. I didn't know when or why or like how or what the context was.
Oh, cool.
But I just saw, I knew.
You know, that's crazy because I've only ever known about a crossover Crescent City. I never, I mean, I don't know how I've avoided this, but I was like, I was like jumping up on the bed. I was
Did you easily pick it up? Like
instantly. I mean, the second, so yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
So basically, Aylin's just falling through different worlds. Like, I'm just picturing her like this kind of.
I just pictured it exactly like in Doctor Strange, where America is like falling through her star portals.
Yeah.
And you like see a bunch of worlds.
Yeah.
I was like just picturing it just like fast, not because it kept saying like she was going so
like
fast.
Light speed. Yeah. Where she's falling through these, it's like a Rolodex. She's like trying to find her own world, but she's going too fast and she's just like falling, just searching and searching for her own world and at the tether that will like get her back. And then like, yeah, the second she mentions this, she passed through a world of snow-capped mountains under shining stars. I was like,
really?
Instant. Valaris. So clearly an ACOTAR crossover moment, and path through a world of snow-capped mountains. And I also wonder, before we talk about it, I do wonder if she passed through a world where a great city had been built along the curve of a river with buildings possibly tall and glimmering with lights. I wonder if that might be Crescent City.
Yeah,
we don't know. It's a bit more like buildings with lights and curve it's more modern, maybe.
And possibly tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, something she's never seen before. Mm-hmm. And then, anyway.
Oh, right. Like skyscrapers and stuff. I got you.
I wonder. So, anyway, she's passing over these, like she's seeing these mountains and these stars. She passed over one of the mountains where a winged male stood beside a heavily pregnant female gazing at those very stars. Fae. They were Fae, but this was not her world. So now for the very first frickin' time, we're learning, and I guess this doesn't tell us necessarily that they're existing in the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's not a different timeline, it's a world.
Yeah, so maybe this all is happening at the same time. It's just the multiverse effect, which is crazy.
She's jumping into the multiverse.
And I'm only wondering, like, this is clearly Reese and Feyre. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, is this like Feyre pregnant with Nyx or like
another baby?
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. Who knows? It's just so exciting, and I'm like,
well, yeah. So when would this have taken? Did we read this at any point?
Huh?
Did we read this at any point of pregnant Feyre and Reese
like gazing out and seeing a falling
star?
Maybe. We'll have to revisit.
Because if she's pregnant with Nyx, then we would have seen it in Silver Flames.
But we didn't get a lot of their POV. Yeah. So that's what's interesting. Like, I wonder if it'll be brought up
in the next
again,
book or something. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was crazy.
I know.
And and Aelin just instinctively like flings out a hand, like trying to
reach for them,
signal them, and Reese sees her, and he instantly snaps his head towards her, and he sees her immediately, and he uses his dark power to slow her down. Like, he knows that she needs to slow down in order to find her own world. Because I wonder, like, is he reading her like, is he, like, able to read her? Like, it's just so, this whole little chunk of, like, oh my God, I need
just the one
this
sentence.
to expand.
Yeah, the one sentence about him, and I was like,
I know, I was so
I saw
giddy.
a winged male, and I was like,
I know, I was like, oh my God. I got so, yeah, his dark power slammed into her, not to attack, but to slow her down. Just enough. And, like, immediately there it was. She finds her own world.
So maybe they're that close.
Right.
They're like, just.
Yeah, are they very close by? Especially if if that's, like, Crescent City. Like, are they all? I just
and you
wonder.
know what?
What?
It does say in that last chapter, we just said it. She's no longer the queen who was promised, but the queen who walked between worlds. So is this like her new title? Is this like a thing?
Chills.
Is this like a thing she can just do now, like Maeve used to, but now like she has this power? So will she walk through worlds more, and like now they're gonna cross over?
Listen. This makes sense because if this just happened to Aelin,
yeah.
During Silver Flames is obviously the last book that we've read. So this happened recently in the ACOTAR verse. Mm-hmm. So who's to say
the next
we're now about to face this like huge conflict with the queens. The queens.
I kind of hope. Oh,
maybe there's something at the end.
I hope Maeve doesn't die.
But she doesn't have her portal power anymore. I wonder if somehow
she's gonna go on the search to get it back. Because she's pissed at Dorian for stealing it from her.
Maybe she'll like somehow pass through one that Aelin made. I don't know, like, because Aelin can do it now. Crazy. And imagine there's like the final ACOTAR book, and like Aelin shows up to help them, like to help them because Rhys helped her.
Yeah.
In this
life debt.
And she's gonna repay the life debt. Guys.
Because like there's also like just so many theories and thoughts that like Rhys is like maybe related to or similar to Maeve.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe that's gonna be a whole thing.
Could he be? Yeah. Like we don't know much about the other kings, like her husband and the other brother.
Yeah, will they come into play at all, or like
in this or later in ACOTAR? Like she doesn't make these connections without expanding on it later.
Yeah,
she wouldn't have made a connection in Crescent City that we don't know about yet. A Silver Flames reference even.
Yeah, if she's pregnant with Nyx, that's connecting directly to the last book.
Yeah. And that's what happens in Crescent City too. Is like it's a Silver Flames.
With Silver Flames.
Yeah. Like you have to have read Silver
That's
Flames.
the thing is like I gotta get through it. We gotta now jump into Crescent City.
Yeah, we just have to.
If the new book's gonna get announced soon, we have to know what happens in that one.
Yeah.
And that's not till the last Crescent City book, right? Like the first two don't have anything.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, they're so big. Okay.
Anyway, this was so much fun, and I was so excited to read this. I was not expecting it whatsoever. I couldn't believe mine eyes when I did the second. She started falling through worlds, and she started describing like the first one. I was like, hold on, and sure enough, there it was. And I was like, oh my, heavily pregnant. So Nyx was about to be born, like
heavily pregnant. Yeah. Did we see that?
I gotta like surf.
Yeah.
Well, now we can. Well, maybe we need to finish this first, and then like see if we can find any theories.
I'm sure people have done a bunch of theories or research.
This conversation is probably like, okay, we know.
We talked about this like 4 years ago.
I know. Oh my God. I was geeking out.
And this is why people are so pressed of saying read ACOTAR first.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because of this one sentence. But it's so exciting.
I was talking to my sister-in-law about the books a few weeks ago, and she told me, she was like, when you get to the part,
oh really?
Let me know. Oh. She's like, you'll know what part I'm talking about.
Oh, it was definitely this.
Definitely this. Yeah. I was so excited.
I know.
Anyway, so yeah, and then thanks to Rhys, to our Reese. She immediately finds her land that smells of pine and snow, and
home.
her continent, and tangle of oak wall to the right, the wastes to the left, a land of many peoples, many beings. And she threw herself into it. Home, home, home. And she plunged back into her own body. And Rowan could not frickin' believe it. And Aelin, like, collapses. He was instantly there, grabbing her. And, oh my God, I loved this sentence that says, the scent of Dorian's and Kale's tears replaced the salt of Endovier as Aelin stared up at Rowan and smiled. I'm like, oh my God, please. She says, I came back.
Well, you missed the part before where he was like, he was ready to die. If she died, he would
die.
Like,
but we knew that, Rowan.
I know. Oh my God.
No, it's so sweet.
Oh, that's true. What
I
a
love
good sentence.
And she explains that her power is gone. However, the wording is a little confusing here too, because she says only an ember remains.
So
but
maybe she has like
she shows the droplet of water. Because even in this last couple of sentences, Aelin held out her other hand, because one has the droplet of water. She held out the other hand, and the kernel of flame sputtered to life within it. An ordinary gift, a fire bringer no more, but Aelin all the same, which is so amazing. But I'm like, okay, but there is a little fire.
She's not the fire bringer.
Yeah. So she's more balanced, maybe.
She just has a little bit of water and a little bit of fire. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. Those don't go very well together, so.
I liked when he held her again. And what did it say? She was warm, but cold somehow. A stranger in her own body. So because like she doesn't have that intense fire power anymore, her body temperature is like a little bit more cold than usual.
But she likes it. I think she's relieved maybe because
she always explained her power as too overwhelming.
Like she talks about the well, and the well is gone. The churning sea of fire.
Yeah.
And she says like she does have a significant gift, but nothing beyond the ordinary.
Now she can focus on her mama's gift, though.
Yeah, so cool.
She's never been able to focus on that because the fire was too overwhelming.
Yeah, so cool. And now I'm like, okay, what is she gonna? I'm so excited to see what she does.
Well, now we have to figure out how do they kill Erewhon, and
I know.
Ooh, I'm really hoping Maeve like doesn't die, and that like it's almost cliffhangery, like.
Oh my God.
Because the thing I keep having to remind myself. This is this is done. Mm-hmm. Like the series is known to be over. But are they all connected?
But will we see any of them again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I literally nonstop chills these last like 20 minutes. Oh, and it's important to note another confusing thing. So like her human self is gone.
Yes,
she's only Fae now?
No more shifting.
Yeah, her mortality is burned away.
She had given all of herself, had given up her life.
Shifting, yeah.
The human life. So maybe the thing that saved her is that she kind of had these two lives in limbo. Yeah. Almost she killed Selena. She killed her human self.
Which is great.
Sad.
But also like, it was a life of...
Yeah.
But
now maybe Selena in her human life is dead
with Sam,
and in the afterworld with Sam.
Let's think that. I love it.
It's that TikTok of them dancing together.
The edit of that is just absolutely incredible. Anyway.
Yes.
That's cool.
True,
that's a cool thought. Oh.
It was burned away.
And she told the boys what happened.
All right, boys, gather around.
Here's what I did.
My boys.
The boys. That's cool too because sorry, Ghosty. Because what she thought would, or maybe she never even thought this, but her and Dorian being able to split that, she was always able to do that herself because of her two forms.
Yeah.
Because both were equally as powerful, honestly.
Why was her special thingy that she could be a human and a...
Because she just was born of...
both?
Yeah.
So do other fae, can they do that? Or is it like how Rowan can shift into a bird and Fenris can shift into a wolf? Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why can some fae shift and others don't?
It's a good question for our friends. Well, I think it's just...
Does Gabrielle shift into an actual lion, or they just call him Lion?
I don't know.
I'm going to rapid fire all of my questions to you.
Don't ask me the questions. Because I don't know. I don't think so.
Is Adian
we would know
actually fae, or is he not really fae? Will he be fae one day and he's just not now? Does he have pointy ears?
I think that he's a baby bit fae, like less so than Aelin. Like he can't shift. He can't like actually shift.
But they said one day he might do the what's like the
long night. The long...
Hold on.
It's time. Fan Ghoul questions of the week. Every week we go through 3 different questions and we answer them, and we like to pretend that you also answer them if you're watching this. And the first question is, who was your fangirl pick of the week, or your MVC, or your most valuable character for the set of chapters? The second question is your ghoulish gripes, or what bugged you about the set of chapters, and then plenty the set. And then the third is your fangirl fantasies, or what you want to see in the coming set of chapters. With that said, who was your pick of the week?
I'm finally doing it. And my pick of the week is Aelin.
Yay!
I chose Aelin, yes, because I always thought we'd have plenty of Aelin incredible moments to pick from this book, so I put it off multiple times. But I know we still might have another one.
Yeah.
But this was the thing, since like Crowd of Midnight, or whenever we learned about all of this stuff,
we've been waiting
that she was just going to be a sacrificial lamb.
Yep.
And the fact that she did do it, she closed it, but she's still alive.
I know. Awesome. I agree. Aelin's mine too.
Really?
For everything that, well, I may have to say the 13 also.
Again.
Just because of what happened, and I'm never going to get the chance to have it be them again.
Both.
But that said, this was huge. This was something we've been waiting for so long for Aelin, and I really loved the way it turned out. I thought I really thought it could go either way. Like it really could happen, and she somehow could end up in the afterworld or something and become like Elena maybe, and just guide them through the rest of it. But I'm glad obviously that she's herself and alive, and it didn't seem like a cheesy route to take. Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't seem like
it didn't seem cheap that they both survived. Yeah,
like it meant something.
Yeah.
And we saw Reese.
Should
we say Reese is our pick of the week?
Oh my god, we should have said Reese.
So Aelin is our pick of the week, but Reese is the MVC. Most valuable character.
I mean, yeah, he's the only reason she made it back home.
Reese! Oh my god. I have no words.
Of always.
Oh my god, fangirl pick of life.
He will. Oh yeah.
What was your ghoulish gripe?
Deanna.
What the hell is her problem?
Like what gripe did you have? What was your ghoulish gripe, Deanna? Jeez Louise. Yeah, I just thought she had no need to be that rude.
Absolutely not.
What about you?
I think my gripe, it's not gripe, it's just like I'm in mourning, like literally in mourning. I think I'm reaching acceptance. I tortured myself by rereading the chapter 89, just crying. I couldn't, every time I read it, I can't help it. The 13 are no more.
Yeah, they're a little dunzo.
And I'm upset that also Abraxas went through what he did.
And now he doesn't have his little mate.
And Abraxas lost his mate. Dorian was just going to sacrifice himself without saying goodbye to Manon. It's not his fault. He didn't know what she was going through in the north. But, dear God. And I know, Aelin still takes the cake for having it the worst in some moments.
Is this going to drive her now to when she sees Dorian again? Is she going to say, I love you?
Well, wait for Fangirl Fantasies for that.
So sorry.
That's all right.
Reverse. What's your fangirl fantasy?
Well, I will actually, this is going to be the biggest gripe of my life if they do not reunite in this set of chapters. I need some solace for Manon. Like, I know it's going to be rough for her. Or she really will have, like, come out of this and face it in a different way rather than anger or, like, obviously she's going to grieve, but I'd bet that she's going to grow more from it. What about you?
Well, I feel like mine's all changed now.
I know.
Of like...
It's like, now what? I mean, there's still a war.
I guess they still have to defeat Erewhon and figure that out. But this whole thing with like Reese and Feyre, like that just like opened up so much, right?
Much. These are fantasies for like the universe. Yeah.
For the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. Of like that one sentence of like, she'll now be known as the queen who can walk between worlds. Like that's too...
Especially since Maeve has already had a title like that. And now it's like, coming back again. It feels like it
connects with Maeve. So like, yeah, I kind of hope Maeve doesn't die.
And we've always said it's winnowing. Like we've always said it's like winnowing. And so it's just more too close.
Extensive. Yeah. Like Fenris can winnow. Yeah. But what Maeve was doing was like little portals to different worlds.
Full on worlds. Right. And now will Aelin be able to do that now? Mm-hmm. Willingly. Or, you know, that's the question. Oh my God. It gets me so... We're going to have a whole episode just to like hash this out.
But yeah, so I kind of hope we like get a weird cliffhanger of like, we don't know if Maeve actually dies or not. Mm-hmm. And that maybe if we can see if this is a power or something that Aelin does have. Mm-hmm. And then just my fantasy forever will be like, now I hope in this next ACOTAR book, like it kind of ties in with this maybe. Yeah. Maybe Maeve is the next big bad in ACOTAR or like.
Right. Like,
I don't know.
The queens and those characters we don't know anything about in ACOTAR, are they related to Maeve somehow? Do you know, like, are they?
Maybe they're the Valg princess, spider princess.
Right. Like, we don't know. Because doesn't she pull them from she pulls them out of their own little portal. So who knows, like, where else they may be. Yeah. I mean, I know they are human queens, but that means nothing. But are they? Really? Yeah. It's for a bigger discussion, but
we have a whole theory therapy that we now need to jump into.
Yeah, and we need to come prepared.
I was going to say we're going to do some research and
go back into the Silver Flames dictionary and research. Whee! Happy to.
Yeah. Now we only have 2 more chunks left.
Crazy. I can't believe that.
I know. So what? 100 to 111, right. And then 112 to 122.
And then that's it.
And then all done.
That's crazy.
I know.
Okay, cool. This meeting of the Fan Ghouls Club is adjourned.
My goodness.
Good night. I'll be dreaming of Reese.